So when all these pairs are lined up, what we saw this past week was the SAC wallet was buying Pulsex, but it routed DAI to Pulse and then Pulse to Pulsex. So it was actually pushing up Pulse to get to the Pulsex, right? You see how that pair went? But it also routed around through the other pool, Ink, actually, because there's an Ink Pulsex pair. So some of the buys routed through. So they all routed and pushed each other up because there's only one major pair would die, right? So it's kind of fun how that works, where they all kind of connect and pull each other up. But I don't think EX is part of that bond as far as like the route that would help for it to go up during some of these buys.
It depends on the buy, how much that wallet bought hex. So it depends on the volume.
None,
Mm.
none.
No, how much hex, not e hex. How much
It was
that
buying
wallet?
Pulsex. It was buying Pulsex. I think it
No,
bought
no. So when you said so, right now
$7 million in
no, the
Pulsex
pair
this
is
past week.
no liquidity pair is between hex and e hex, right? So basically the buy pressure that puts on hex, that ratio will go into e hex. So I'm asking, so how much that wallet bought hex so that we can calculate for e hex.
Ooh, but wouldn't it be that like just we can use the same ratio? So we take the ratio and then we use that, and then that less of an amount would be needed to pump the price.
Yeah,
We don't even need that much then. We just need to see where it bounces, and then
yeah.
it bounces. We throw a little bit in. Does it need to be that much? $100, $500. I need to be here for the next 15 years either way.
And one more question. The other question is, what happens if 48 billion of hex they dumped? So the wallets which are not dumping, when it even hit more than 19%, are they going to dump at these levels? That is one thing, and I welcome other people to dump so that I can get 100x of EX to my bag. So basically, it's crypto is kind of like last man standing, right? And
Mhm.
still I see the utility and still I see the fan
Yeah.
base.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I get it, but you're
No,
thinking
I'm not.
100x
Mm,
gains, but people
mm.
who did not listen to Richard Hart for the past year got annihilated. And I don't know why people would still try to like, oh, I'm going to be smarter than Richard Hart. You realize that he's telling you you might actually make more money on Hex because I might actually buy it. Think about that. What if the SAC wallets start to buy Hex? That ratio is gonna get annihilated, and you're thinking 100x gains. Well, yeah, there might be 100x gains, but it might be priced
No,
on
not
Pulse Chain
100x
while you're
gains. I'm
holding a
saying that
bag that doesn't move at all.
no. So I didn't say 100x gain. I said that if people are going to drop more EX, then I'm saying that I will 100x my bag, like 100x in number of tokens of EX right now in my bag. And the other thing is he said a lot of things. He said 2 weeks, it didn't happen. He said like Hex is going to like sorry, Pulse Chain will take more time to launch, and then the price dropped and he pumped it, and he said like it released. So cannot really. And one more thing, he also said that there's a parity between ERC and PRC, right? So he said everything, but it depends on what you get out of that, and it depends. Again, you can
If
take it as
you're if you're
advantage.
gonna if you're gonna pick up 100 times your bag in Ethereum Hex while Pulse Chain is brand new and Pulse X is brand new and Ink is brand new with no early dumpers and Hex is out there on Pulse. Like you have a lot of great options out there. If you're only buying EHEX, you probably are going to miss a lot of gains.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
that's
you might have
happens.
more
So,
coins,
mm,
but you might not have the appreciation of your bag, right? Where it actually goes up in dollar value. Maybe you'll have a little bit. I'm not saying you're not going to, yeah, something will happen to everything. But then again, what if it goes down? You could lose money on that idea while everybody else is doing. You don't want to go against the current. The current is Pulse Chain. Like we all support Pulse Chain. We're pushing for Pulse and Pulse Chain and Hex on Pulse Chain, Pulsex, Inc. Like all of these moves are actually flowing money out of Ethereum. And you're basically saying, I'm going to swim the other way. I'm going to go against the current and I'm going to hopefully get everybody that's dropping their. I mean, hats off to you if it all works out. But I'm personally not rich enough to swim against the whole community's push towards Pulsechain. I don't have that much money. I mean, Richard Hart's saying he doesn't want to do it, and he has that much money. He could, but he's saying, what's the point? Like, I already have Hex on Pulsechain. That was the whole point for all of his efforts, was to give us an out. And he did, and then people are still smacking him in the face and saying, oh, I'm going to go back to the chain that destroyed Hex. Really? What did you learn in the past 3 years? Have you not listened at all to the whole plan? The grand idea was for us to migrate. And you're saying, no thanks. I'm going to take my gamble that EHEX is going to, like, I'll get tons of them and it's all going to work out. Why don't you go over to Ethereum POW? Guess what? Hex is even cheaper over there. It's got an extra 2 zeros, my friend.
I'm a
It's
shark
amazing.
over there.
Yeah, I got tons over there. It's amazing. The gas fees are cheap. There's still liquidity pools, and you can pump that coin if you want to. I mean, it can pump, I'm telling you. But it may cease to exist.
do it.
So I'm not saying buy any of it. I personally am holding it just in case. Like, if Hex does amazing on Pulsechain, I could just take a little bit of my Hex bag and then move it over there and pump the price. It'd be really funny. But, oh, man.
Bro, I thought about that in a couple coins over there.
No. So the thing is, so that's what I'm keep on saying the same thing, same point. So every coin will have a risk, so that you have to mitigate. So I'm not saying I only buy EHEX, but I'm saying when there's a drop in EHEX, I'll buy, because I said tons of things on that, why I'm buying that, right? And if you see Richard Hart Glory, where it is right now, it's only on EHEX chart, not anywhere else until now. And yeah, so I was the one who is buying ink under $1. Now I'm the same person. So I'm buying EHEX because I still see there is an opportunity with that, with parity, with liquidity bonding. And when Duncan update comes in, then the gas fees will get reduced by 10. So then who's going to buy? It may be, or it may be similar to the Pulsechain gas price. So even so, let's say if $5, so even say, let's say $50, right? Gas fee, it comes down to $5. So people will care with, $5 or 5 cents. So $5 means nothing much, right? To stake or unstake X on Ethereum if. So
yeah,
then
on that
which
I'm
one?
gonna wait. I'm gonna wait for the update, and then I'm gonna wait for it to see it, because I've heard it too many times. So Ethereum too many times have told me, right? Too many times I've heard, oh, there's an update, my gas fees are gonna go down, and then I had my issues in 21, and then I see all the issues. I mean, I haven't had cheap gas fee in Ethereum in the last 6 months, just the 2 or 3 weeks in December. So once I see it, though, I'll believe it. I'll be like, all right, now the gas fees are solved for the next couple months.
But if they do solve it, guess what's going to happen? More demand is going to go to Ethereum. That's what's going to happen. And guess what's going to happen? It probably will
Price
make it
go
a
back
little more
up.
expensive again, because a lot of people wish they could launch their NFT on Ethereum, and they're waiting. If this does work, then maybe they'll do that plan. So I think Pulsechain can take their technology. So no matter how good Ethereum figures it out, we can actually, because our coin is 0.0001, our gas fee will always be in dollar terms cheaper than Ethereum, no matter what, right? So we will win. We will win Ethereum. Like, if they figure Danger, okay, we'll take it. Okay, we did it. Okay, now we're 100 times cheaper than that.
No, gas fees is not only the factor, right? If gas fee is only the factor, then Binance it should be better than Ethereum. Even Phantom is the less gas fee. It should be, pumped more than Ethereum. So gas fee is not only the factor here.
It's not down to gas fees. It's not just gas fees. It's interoperability. When you think Ethereum with their institutional links and the government links now.
That's such an interesting debate, because it's like anyone that's building right now, how are they being either held or restricted because of these gas fees? Like, how fast or slow could they be going right now?
I think the building to integrate layer 2s onto the networks to mitigate those gas fees.
Nice. Yeah, I've heard a couple of times Vitalik mention that, like, for the gas customers.
You think projects like Hyperledger and Hyperledger Fabric are so far engulfed now into the Ethereum ecosystem. I think it was just layer 2s.
Really? Like, that was the IBM stuff?
It's governments. It's the government side of things that have taken the hyperledger.
You want to go against the tidal wave?
As a,
I can
yeah.
see the SAC wallet coming in and buying some hex on Pulse Chain, and the ratio is just going to get annihilated.
What did they say? What's the phrase? Don't swim against the tide. Recognize the currents and don't use them to your advantage.
Swim with the whales, not against them.
Yeah.
Right.
It
I mean,
depends.
yeah.
It depends. So if you ink is the example, so everything else pumping, it dumped $80 to, so basically 99%, I mean around 99% it dropped, but it did 25. So it depends on what you say. So if something has utility, something has
No.
community,
Ink is not. Ink is
it
not a good. Ink is not a good example. The whales were buying ink. You were supposed to swim with the whales. You were supposed to buy ink. If you would have watched what they were doing, they were accumulating ink, farming for ink, buying ink, and the community who wasn't paying attention swam against the whales. They sold the ink. And so far, it's looking better for the people who, there's a wallet that bought probably 1 million inks while people were dumping. Maybe
Yep,
we should watch
yep.
that wallet and follow and do what that one does.
No, you are saying after 99% dump, right? I'm saying until 99% dump. And we never know whales when they will come. So you have to get in there, stick to your basics, stick to your fundamentals. If there's an opportunity, just grab it. And I cannot wait until whales, consume all my meat, right? So yeah, people can say anything until some whale just buy. So if you just put $100 million, into you just type $100 million on CoSwap, see how much is going to get the price, and millions of dollars they injected to ink. You can see that comparison. So ink did 25x, and the same buy pressure from whales on EX will do even more. So it's just a thing like you need to get before the narrative is there or some whale, buying something. So you need to be buying it beforehand. I'm not
I
saying
want
that
the
you have
ratio to
to.
go lower first. I want the
Struggle.
ratio to be 10-1. There's going to be that resurgence in EX just because it's like it goes too far one way. But I don't know if we're there yet. Like, what if it goes 10-1 or 15-1? And then that's when I get in. So I can catch that resurgence back to 10-1.
I struggle to see why anybody would want to face Richard off with EHEX.
He could nuke it
Really struggle
forever.
with it. You've got the person who has the majority of it for a start, and he basically can do what he wants with the price of it. Now the EHEX chart, it absolute gorgeous up until yesterday. Looked like it wanted to pump big style, and a whale has put a tweet out and destroyed the chart.
Yeah.
So God knows that has wrecked a lot of people on the trading side of things.
Mm-hmm. You heard people screaming for weeks, like, "Look at this chart! It's amazing! Look at it! It's
Gorgeous.
gonna recover.
It's done perfect Wyckoff
Got
accumulation.
annihilated.
No, why Richard is keep on hurting EX because people are still there supporting EX, so that's why he's keep on frustrating every time, like he's repeating the same thing from around a year. So it didn't. So even the founder, he put some hate tweets on the coins he did, but still it is breathing, and that says it'll live on, but we don't know at what point it will come. But until then, don't miss it. Like I said so many things, right? So yeah, time will tell. I can't say more than that.
I was expecting a dump on this weekend, but I was expecting a Vegas vacation dump, so it was a different one.
I'm surprised he put that tweet. I'm really surprised he put that tweet out.
It's really, you know why he put that tweet out? Because he wants to buy hex on Pulsechain, and he's telling you in advance, you want to make some money? All right, focus on one hex so I can focus on one hex. He gives you a chance before he does it.
But there is Pulse on Ethereum as well, like Pulse CRC20. There is one, right? So again, that's a 2. Sorry, maybe it's not in the same context.
I think he wants to buy a bunch of hex, but I think he wants to buy the Pulsechain one, and he's kind of telling people like, hey, does Richard Art want to buy all of the hex? No, he wants the community to work with him, so we all, you're not dumping on him when he's buying, and then buying EHEX. That's what's been happening, okay? So he's bought a little EHEX, and then what does the community do? They sell the Pulse. He bought Pulsechain hex a little bit. The community sells the Pulsechain hex. They say, "Oh wow, EHEX is." They go buy the EHEX. Now you're dumping on the whale. He gets annoyed.
But how many people in the community is he just wrecked today?
Yeah, they deserve it. They were supposed to buy the right hex all along. They should have listened to Richard Hart. He said multiple times that this is probably going to swing towards Pulsechain's way, but people denied it. They didn't watch his streams. They didn't care anymore. This is like a degeneracy to think you would want to go back and not support Pulsechain. You know, like, oh, everything's going to be great. It's lunacy, but I get it. They wanted their cake and they wanted to eat it too, but you don't always get both.
How much of the EX liquidity is coming across the bridge?
The bridge is congested.
Okay.
And things are stuck for about 2 hours now, I'm hearing. The official bridge.
What's coming over Ethereum?
I haven't checked, but I just saw that people were getting stuck on the bridge. So we'll see when it clears up. What happens with that price action? Oh man!
Remember when he put out the tweet not to sell good assets to chase bad ones? What do you think he was talking about?
You can't. I don't think it'd tarnish EHEX in that. You know what I mean? In that sentence.
I think he was applying to multiple things on Ethereum or Bitcoin, right? Like it wasn't just one thing.
The Ethereum, I'm going to say the Ethereum on the bridge, the fact, free fees for Ethereum. I'm going to say I didn't know if that was people dumping their EHEX into Ethereum is hoping to get the liquidity from EHEX over into the PHEX side and just basically move the liquidity across the chain.
So like hedron and icosa, was that on Pulsechain side too, or is it the same thing? Like you got to bridge it over.
I ain't even thought about icosa and hedron.
Say that again.
I ain't even thought about like icosa and hedron on the Ethereum side. Yeah,
right. That's why I'm bringing it up.
The other thing is, I always said this. I don't want people to end their Pulsechain hex, sell hex on Pulsechain to get money to bridge over to Ethereum and pay for your $500 end state fees. That to me is a double negative. Right now, you're killing hex twice. And that was a theory that a lot of people said they were going to do. Right? Like, oh, if it's 1,500, I don't care. I'll just send the Pulsechain one first, dump some hex, then I'll get my cash, and then I'll be able to bridge over to Ethereum and pay for my gas fee. And it's like, whoa, okay, now you're nuking both hex charts plus paying Ethereum to do so. Like, is this really where we want to be? Then hex is not going to perform as well.
The scary thing about hex is nothing. It hasn't broken anything. If you look at the weekly chart, nothing's broken. It's just on a higher low at the moment.
Tell me if they know what Alex has cooking. Is he supposed to offer EHEX staking on Pulsechain?
That's what I was hearing.
Don't count on
the plans.
Check his recent tweets and probably don't count on it.
He keeps talking in riddles and shit. I'm like, man, why don't you just say it?
Probably not.
So it's impossible to actually. There is no EHEX on Pulsechain. First of all, there is none. So there's a wrapped asset. So it's a different smart contract. It's not the hex code, and it allows you to get EHEX on Ethereum. So it's a receipt contract. It's not actually real EHEX. And so with that receipt contract, you can't stake it for Ethereum hex. That's not possible. You could do some centralized systems that allow you to simulate something that gives you something on another chain with oracles, sure. But I think he's probably going to give up on that idea. We'll see. But I would say read his current tweets and responses.
Yeah. I was reading them. I couldn't make
I thought it was a cool idea.
I think it's cool to use hex without any of those burdens connected to it, because then you don't have like middleware contracts that possibly could fail. Hex is pretty simple. It works on its own contracts, so you don't need anything else.
What happened to Richard Hart talking about? I want to see expensive hex on both chains. Like
You gotta watch the whole video. He also says he expects the one on Pulsechain. There's a video you could check out. I guess I could pin it to the top, where he says like 10 times that probably the hex on Pulsechain is the way to go. And you have to remember, Richard Hart is more invested in Pulsechain than he is in hex. I know everybody loves hex. I know that's our first baby, but his legacy, his glory combines with other founders of other L1s like Satoshi Nakamoto if Pulsechain is the superpower, right? Because every founder becomes a legend based on a blockchain, not on a token. Sadly, but that's how it works in crypto. You got to get glory. Okay, build a blockchain first because you're not even a blockchain holder. You don't control a blockchain. You're a nobody.
And by the way, if you're thinking that it's all riddles, it's because you don't know really more the core of the freaking thing. That's why.
Yep. Yeah, it's not riddles. He screams it.
Oh yeah, I mean the debate about EHEX and hex is already old. I mean, why was Pulse created?
Right, for cheaper gas fees.
Pulse was created so that hex would flourish and not be jammed with freaking crazy fees. So logically and common sense comes normally to a normal brain and would notice that, yeah, Hex on Pulse is going to be the winner. Hex is king in Pulse.
It has the liquidity pool too, so you can actually cash out $1 million on Pulse Chain because there's a liquidity pool with tens of millions of dollars sitting there. So it's not a big issue. But I pinned the video to the top if you want to watch that again. I think Pulse LM might have
So
pinned it, but yeah, that's a collection of videos from Richard Hart where he specifically talks about what you're saying, but he emphasizes a lot of different angles to it,
right, I
including
understand that.
favoring.
So what about when you guys don't ever think that Ethereum's gonna get their gas situation resolved like 5 to 10 years from now? I don't think EHEX is gonna be zero if the gas fees are fixed.
Oh, trust me, my friend. It's like the strategies are really, really like if you go and buy EHEX on Ethereum, you're going to waste a lot of money. So the wise way is if you're getting it at extremely cheap price like it is right now, and if there is liquidity pools on the Pulse side, and avoid the fees, buy them over on the Pulse side, people will actually be selling
Yep.
much more EHEX on the Pulse side so that people can bridge in their EHEX and avoid all these crazy fees and only pay the fee to stake to take from the bridge, right? When it comes to the bridge, from the bridge, and then to stake the token, and then to end the stake, right? So that's the best route, right? You don't go to Ethereum to any centralized or decentralized. You're gonna freaking pay the same fees. So buy EHEX on Pulse, and the guys that are actually creating the liquidities and putting their liquidities available on of EHEX on Pulse chain, not only they will make mad gains, but also help EHEX explode in Ethereum if you use this single strategy, guys. I'm giving this alpha. Uh, it comes from my. It comes from. I don't have any trade analysis experience or anything at all. It comes naturally. You see the logic, right?
Say that again. You said buy the EHEX on Pulse Chain. Right. That's 100%. 100%. That's the play. But for the new people that are coming in this bull cycle, they're not going to know how to get over on Pulse Chain to get new capital, fresh capital in. So their first look, if they want Hex, is going to be on Pulse Chain. I'm sorry. Their
Yeah,
first
yeah,
look is
yeah.
going to be on
Totally,
Ethereum.
totally, totally. But if people that are on EHEX and still believe on EHEX and dramatize about all, oh, it's jumping, play it safe, play it smart. Don't go there and buy it over there. Just
Right.
waste the fees to bridge in, right, to Ethereum, right, and to
Hmm.
stake it. It's crazy fees, but then calculate how much you need to stake and for how long to at least to the minimum to break even. And then think about, okay, add another 10-20% because the fees are going to be really crazy by then for sure, or maybe not. I don't know. We don't know. But take advantage and put like 10 or 20% on top of that future fee, and then calculate, okay, this is break even. How much am I get? What do I have to do to gain more? And then just make the calculations. It's up to every individual person to actually see the value of it. The T share, not the
Right.
one day stake. Pulse chain you can do one day stake. You don't lose almost anything. If you have a big bag. But try that on Ethereum. You gotta
100%.
calculate. You gotta calculate. You're gonna lose a lot. So this is
Right.
this is the idea. This is why the mentality is that Pulse Chain is gonna win. I mean, the hex is gonna win on Pulsechain, not on Ethereum. It's gonna drag, but it can go up if people play this strategy instead of going through the traditional Ethereum market. Go through the Pulsechain market, get the EHEX here.
Right.
People that have EHEX on the Ethereum market, they're just pleasing the big whales on Ethereum side. It's fine for me too. But if they want the price to go up, they play the smart move and do the liquidity pools on Pulsechain to boost the stakers, not the freaking traders, the ones that are speculating. And this is what I sent on this last comment. EHEX is not for speculation. It's really for the stakers. It's now even more because you need it really to stake it, like stake it till you make it. I really have to stake it really long to make it. And while in Pulsechain, you can actually ladder to make a whole bunch of crazy ladders, little freaking ladders, small ones, big ones. You don't have to worry about the freaking fee. And this is the freedom that was created when Richard Hart created Pulsechain. And that vision has to be in every single person that actually is hodling. And this is why I begged the other community. I'm sorry, I have to bring this up. I'm sorry, guys, but I really do, because all winter I got bashed and freaking slapped around and freaking kicked around about this. And I begged only for the people that are dumping and that were saying, I'm dumping 3 times a day, to save 10% of their ink, 10% of their ink, every single time that they freaking dump. Okay, it's fine, but save 10%. They would be thanking me so many times, and instead, they even doubled down. They got even more aggressive. They got even more sour going against me, and it doesn't stick. I'm doing my victory laps now, and and like Richard Hart said, it's the bull run is still yet to start. Oh, the rope is tightening for them, my friends.
So let
I
me ask
let
you
the
this.
rope loose, and it's tightening. You know why? Because they influence these people in unloading, diluting their pulse position into freaking JPEGs that have no function. Some of them have function, and I do support those. But those that don't have no function, they just diluted people massively. And now, in a few months, when we all are raging up, then that rope tightens up for those influencers that made those things happen. That's all, man. That's all the things that's all I wanted to bring up. And the toxicity they brought up to me, I had to bring it up to them, man. I have to slap them around so they can know what they're messing with. Also, they messed me all winter on. You guys saw it. You see the recordings. Mic drop.
Yeah, hey guys, what's up? Wow. So, a couple things here, right? We got some serious opportunity right now, dude. This, to me, there is a theatric optics thing that's going on here with Richard to literally rinse people. I have no doubt in my mind that this ratio for EHEC is going to swing back and skyrocket the other direction. Just like it's been done 2 times before since Pulsechain has launched, okay? I'm specifically talking about PLS hex from Ethereum ratio, okay? Right now, it's king 28-1.
Seriously, it's an
This ratio
opportunity of a
goes,
lifetime there, man. It's not coming back anymore.
man,
Once Pulsechain explodes, EHEX is not going to go back to these lows, man. If you see the logic of
no.
Richard Hart, and guys, I'm going to repeat this with a lot of emotion, okay, guys? Hello, everyone, and thank you, Richard and his team.
Richard is playing 5D king chess, but if you think that EHEX is dead, then you either A, haven't been around long enough, or B, you're not a believer, right? And like Richard Hart built Hex, or him and his team, right? That's where the legacy started. All roads lead to Hex, and this latest charade about driving people down into the ground on how, EHEX is done is literally, he's triggering you and you're triggered and you're seeing the chart down 58, 60% in less than 12 hours and it's triggering you. And that's exactly what he wants. He wants you to dump your bags. He wants you to wash out. He wants you to rinse yourself. And by the way, the beautiful thing of all this, who's benefiting from all these nuke stakes? Guys who are super long.
People buying EHEX on Pulsechain is just to save the hassle of going onto Ethereum and buying EHEX there.
I agree, DMX.
Because I
buy it
could
on
care less
Pulsechain.
if they go to. I already said many times. Why was Pulse created? That's the answer. Who wins in
But
the
I heard
end? It's
EHEX on
Hex
Pulsechain is not
Pulsechain.
the same code.
It's not the same
People think
code.
it's the same EHEX, but it's not. It's just like what is it? It's not the same code.
It's the bridged in variant, right? So it's not exactly the same.
It's not
So there's a
Hex.
speculation opportunity with Hex from Ethereum, and again,
If you're gonna trade though, trade on Pulsex. Help the burn, guys.
I mean, to
I'm
the
going
people
in
that
and
are
out of.
still hoping that EHEX still works, utilize that system. I mean, I know that PulseX is going to really win this game, But hey, I'm the king of ink, so I prefer
If you
ink.
really want to get involved in EHEX, I would say wait till the big EESs happen. So DMF excited about 100 million hex. To me, that's dust. I want to see 40 billion EES by 2030, right? So when all of that gets liquidated and sold, then I think we'll get a really interesting Ethereum hex. But that's not going to happen until starting December of this year and then carrying on 25, 26, 27. By within this next 26, 27s, we're probably going to see a boatload of people emergency end stake that. And that's where probably the mad penalty gains are going to happen. And we could also see an EHEX price that's a lot lower because people are rushing. You have to remember, if you're up 100x on EHEX or 50x, you're still a seller, right? And there's a bunch of people like that, whether you like it or not. They're waiting to cash out. They're stakers. They're coming out. They'll sacrifice their whole big payday bonus and they'll get out in 2025. They don't care. They could care less. If they're up 50x, they're out. And that's going to be a big wave. So I'm waiting for the wave after. Like, this to me is not the wave. The wave is once the 2030 T shares are gone. So the wave that gets them gone, and we'll see how long this takes, but it could take a couple of years for this really to get removed. It could take till 2030, but I doubt they're going to last that long. They've been selling for 3 years straight on all their liquids. So now they're EESing their shorts. Next, they're going to EES their long, quote unquote, long term, which is their 2030, which was their 10-year stake, which is 50%. You need to wait 50% so you don't nuke it, right? That's what's holding Hex back right now from the mega dump that we should be seeing. Once they can EES, they're going to do the Ethereum side most likely. And then EX could add a couple zeros. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to watch. But yeah, I don't think that's happened at all yet. That game is next year or the year after or the year after. So, and this is why I'm really hesitant on EX because people will sell their EX first and they still have tons of T shares that need to be liquidated out of the system.
But
And they're still up.
the counter
They're
to
up.
think about though, and here's just this is another thought process with this, right? PHEX has a couple unique things about it. Number one, it has a newer chart, hasn't been around as long. Number two, it was given for free to everybody. Number three, the guys who got into Hex on Pulsechain PHEX, they haven't experienced the same market cycles and the sentiment and the waiting for Pulsechain to launch. And, there's newer people on the PHEX side, right? And that human emotion and that human nature hasn't really played out yet, right? Because what's stopping some of these, dolphin sharks from just nuking their PHEX bags that they got completely?
So I think that was a big feature of the launch, right? We did get a lot of those people out.
But are they all
Trading
out?
golden eggs for golden eggs, man.
I mean, I see what you're saying too, and this is again what my only argument here is. I have watched several times the hex from Ethereum ratio to PLS ratio go way down and skyrocket way back up, and I've capitalized on it once out of the two times. And am I crazy thinking that it's not going to revert back and swing back again? Like, it would be crazy to not think that. So like, there is this, what do you do with Hex from Ethereum? You can't stake it on Pulsechain, right? You could provide liquidity. And in V2, you can't even earn ink in V1 in the farm. So like it's really simply just some fees you can generate. And then a ratio play with Pulse or Pulsex too. I haven't even really looked at the Pulsex ratio with Hex from Ethereum. I don't know. I just buy Pulsex, or I was, and now I'm like, it's like gone way up. So I'm like,
Well, I'm still buying. I got 10 more months, almost 9.5 months left on my buying of Pulse assets. I think we still have cheap stuff because of the sac. So the sacrificers are extending our buy window, in my opinion, because it's taking a while for people to sell. They're going to sell when they get their 2x's, their 3x, or whatever they're going for. I think it gives us a longer time frame to purchase for this bull market. Maybe we have an extended market than we used to have because of that. I don't know. I also think this whole idea of cycles is going to basically get annihilated. We'll see, because it works until it doesn't matter anymore, right? For Ethereum, cycles don't even matter because it's actually deflationary. It doesn't have a halving. It just loses coins constantly, right? So the Bitcoin halving actually isn't as important as Ethereum just burning coins all the time. That's pretty cool. The other one is Bitcoin halving doesn't really affect Bitcoin anymore because not much, because the ETFs, they're buying way more than the halving. So I think Bitcoin's going to do different things than it used to do. Like the cycle plays out until it stops, and eventually your tiny cut in inflation isn't going to matter compared to demand of these ETFs, right? Like they're buying 7,000 Bitcoins a day, and then the inflation cut would only be like 300 Bitcoin a day. So what's going to matter more to your price, 7,000 buy or 300 cut? 300 cuts dust compared to what's going on right now. And some Bitcoin maxis have said this is 30 halvings right now. And you could see that because we ramped up past all-time high already, and we haven't even had the halving yet. That's impressive. So the narrative of, oh, we got to do this cycle this way or that. No, Hex has done its own thing. We've had multiple bull markets in Hex, even last year, right? Where people say we're in a bear, we're in a bear. Well, really? Okay, we ramped up to 12 cents. That was pretty good. That was a 600% move, right? So that's the whole Bitcoin cycle. We did it in 2 months, right? So I think we oversimplify this, and probably Bitcoin's going to have to figure out how to change the narrative to, I don't know if they call it a super cycle, or what they should be calling it is bubbles, right? Like we're in a bubble. It's not a cycle. It's not a 4-year cycle. It's a bubble, right? We're in a bubble. Now it burst. Now we're, bear. And it might not be 3 years. It might be 1, 2 years, bubble in, bubble out every other year. I don't know. It's going to be fun, but it's going to be different than what we used to experience.
Oh, stuff is coming out of the bridge, guys. Get ready.
I mean, think about how many people in crypto aren't in Pulsechain yet. They've maybe probably heard about it, and they've definitely heard about Hex, because they've been in ETH or, long enough. They've been around long enough to at least see it somewhere, right? Maybe they accidentally saw it ranked correctly, right? And then they noticed it dropped away again. Who knows, but more and more people are starting to realize like Hex hasn't gone away. And then you see this like massive red candle down, and all of a sudden it becomes like extremely, affordable, or like you can get a lot of it for not a whole lot. And if if you're a technical guy and you're looking at the chart the right way, you might see this as a huge opportunity, So there's always that flip side of the coin. But if we think that it's not going to rip again and it is dead forever, I mean, that's just like, ignorant to a level to think that it's not possible. Yeah. 10,000x from 001 is $10. And then, 10,000x from 002 is $20, right? And strong support around 00229, which is still 157x from the all-time low. So very interesting metrics.
Know until it how long it's going to be dropping on EHEX. Follow the people that end stake their things. Calculate the people that bridge out to Pulse, the EHEX, to put on liquidity pools and stuff like that. And the people, and how many people are dumping, and how much it has been dumped, and then you'll see how much, more or less, how much it's going to go, how low it's going to go. So first, see the behavior. Once it stops the emergency end staking, count around like 10 days, 15 days until more or less the bottom, maybe. DCA.
Man, I've caught so many falling knives on Hex and it kept going lower. I'm not too excited anymore. I've done that for years, so
Wait for the
I've
bottom.
been
Wait for the
burned
bottom.
enough. Yeah, the bottom, and then it comes more bottoms and more bottoms. To be honest, I'm so burned out on that that
You
I
become
will
numb. You become numb
I'll
up to time
numb.
Yeah, you
10.
can't keep buying the
No,
dip after you bought it from
no,
bottom
no,
10.
I wasn't. I'm not
It's a
numb. I
never-ending
just bought
dip.
the Hex on Pulsechain because it doesn't go down, so I feel good.
I know the feeling, guys. I know the feeling.
Yeah, I mean, I ran out of money in the fall.
Fell in love, you know when I grabbed a bit with the bag that I had. I grabbed a bit at 37,000, and I was seeing, oh my god, it's gonna go crazy. Let's go see it. I went all the way to 317 or 19,000. It started dropping down to like 315, 12 or something. I just threw it all away at that moment. A lot of pulse, man. I'm hoping at least
We're
halfway
back
there
up.
to be
What are we,
very
40?
conservative.
Where are we at
45,000.
though at TMF? We're at
45,000.
45,000 to 1. Yeah, it's pretty good, but man, what if it goes up to 100?
I was begging people, even the toxic community and everything, begging people don't dump. Or if you dump, please just 10%, the safe 10%. And, and the reaction is like, oh, I'm dumping 3 times D. Okay. So now it's my victory lap, because
Yeah,
while they
but
said
you
three
have to
times a
remember
day,
at that time though, DMF, some of us were dumping that as it was going up. Once it goes down, you pick up a place that you want to buy it, and then you keep it. Everything everything you farm, you keep it. But if you were at 80 and then you waited till $1 and you held all that bag instead of just using the
True.
purchasing
That part,
power.
yes, that part you dump. That's the
So
moment
yeah,
that you dump. It's like around that time, that moment when it starts dropping from that all-time high. That's when everybody starts dumping too. Not only you, but the whales and everybody else. And then you see the massive drop down really quick. So, of course, when I saw that going up, I know that in the future it's going to repeat itself. But how
oh,
high,
there
I
you go.
don't know. A lot of people started saying like, "Oh, it's never going to go to $5. Believe me, it's never done." And this is why I'm dumping it 3 times a day. So, and then in the middle of that, all that toxic word and the character assassination and the labeling, and for sure on the side and the background, freaking reports against me and stuff like that because of that, to calling out the people that were diluting their pulse into things that actually had no function. So, like, yeah, I tried to protect the bags of the Pulsicans as much as I could, and all I got is bashed up on it. And for sure, I'm like labeled like now for sure. The last one was the crazy cat lady because I was calling out the people, and finally I'm doing the victory lap, so they block me. So that nobody in their community can see what's happening, my victory lap, but the rope is still loose and still tightening up for them. The higher the price of pulse and hex and ink goes, the more expensive that useless thing becomes and cannot be sold. So, yeah, that's the thing that I was trying to protect from the honest people that got into Pulse and were blind to the situation.
Nah, I was getting
And
more pulse
now
with
I'm
it.
gonna
So.
I'm gonna get shut up and look really. Ink is king. Ink is king right now. That mass percentage has constantly been the winner for at least 2 months now. So yeah, that's why I dance around with.
No, it's been a good move. Anything under $10 in ink, it's a good move because it can still, if it goes back to $80.
My stupidness was not being too paying attention because I had a liquidity pool with the hex, with the when not with the hex with the ink, and then suddenly ink started catapulting up, and so my ink was disappearing very quickly from that liquidity pool. Not good, not good, because that ratio is not good for
Yeah.
me. I don't want to lose my ink at 44,000 or 40,000 or 35,000. Liquidity removal.
Seeing what all the God Whale's up to with that Bank X stuff and him putting up the sell wall on Ethereum and just trying to figure out what is going through these people's minds. Like, I clearly know what Richard's trying to do, so we got that figured out. He made his opinions pretty clear, but that Bank X dude who has that God Whale's Hex, trying to figure out what the hell he's trying to do, because that dude kind of seems kind of sketchy. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. So
That's a good perspective, and maybe that's what's happening actually.
and still to this day, which I'm sure like 99% of us are, still trying to figure out why that Godwill sacrificed 8 million hex to that Bank X project that I'm pretty sure is now worthless, I'm told, or it never did anything, which a lot of us that saw that from the beginning 2.5 years ago weren't shocked about. So yeah, just trying to figure out what that guy's going to do with that 8 million hex he has on Ethereum that he's trying to put up a sell wall or something, and see if that's correlated anyway to what Richard's been tweeting out the past couple hours about Ethereum and all that stuff. So I don't know. There's one thing. There's never a dull moment. There's never a dull moment with this group, you know.
I think they got FOMOed into that move or something.
I was actually thinking that it was like the God whale trying to protect somehow people in that project, like in case it has some type of impact into Pulsechain or Hex ecosystem, that the God whale would take action on time to prevent that to happen. That was what I was saying in the beginning, that okay, if it is to defend the ecosystem, then it would do that to protect it. It would go there and be the majority owner to control the ecosystem so that it does not do anything. And
You
that's
know, come to
what's
think
the
of it,
effect
that's
right
a
now. The effect right now is that like the total takeover did not let him do the that he wanted to do.
didn't know that. That's actually a pretty good theory.
Is
I haven't heard that
is
one
there any
before. I
key?
like
Is
it.
there any keys on the OA?
That's a good question, man.
Could
Yeah,
the
I
OA
like
just
your theory
put
on
everything
that.
to a burn account
Mm-hmm.
on the EHEX side?
Well, the OA is an account, so for sure has keys, has access, an access point. Now, how is that access point being managed is a different thing.
Saying that it must trade, it supported the price enough, didn't it, on the way up?
I think this is just another drama. Remember when Vitalik was announced dead and how Ethereum behaved? I still think that false flag will come sooner or later.
He'll,
And everything Richard Hart will drop for like 10 seconds or 15 seconds until he proves that he's alive.
he'll never sort gas fees out in Ethereum. It's not in anybody's interest to do it.
So the only interest you would have to be there is to calculate the massive bag to stake, because all these emergency end stakes for the next half a year. I would think like 3 months it would be, but what other people think it's like a temporary thing, so it's like a week. People are going to be emergency end stake. I think it's going to be longer because Pulse Chain is master right now, and everything is like focused over to that side until the massive gains come in. And this is what I was thinking also with the JPEGs, with everybody with their Pulse Chain, with the massive gains, then to ape into their nice little projects and stuff like that. When you have massive capital power instead of this little capital power that you're getting to nearby the sacrifice price. Stupidly, 1,000x from sacrifice price. How much is that? I think the people that are trying to speculate are speculating, and let them speculate. I think the price is going to end up going up anyway. It's going to drop massively, yeah, and people are going to take advantage. The intelligent people that have massive bags are going to freaking ape in like masters once it's a good ratio. It doesn't matter what the ratio is, but they're going to ape in anyway. And then because the code is the same, well, almost the same, blah blah blah, but it has the same function. So um, it's only a matter of the type of bag you're getting into. In Pulse, you can go with tiny bags. In Ethereum, you need a massive bag. That's it. And now that is really cheap and getting cheaper. Wait for the bottom and buy a massive bag, because then there's a lot of excess until it comes to this price again, to this price that it is now. So pay attention to the ratios. You got mad gains to make. Just pay attention. But do it on the Pulse side. Don't do it on the Ethereum side, guys. No, okay? Look at the ratios on Pulse side of E-Hex. Accumulate, calculate really well, and grab a freaking whole bunch of freaking hundreds of thousands and do that. That's not financial advice, but that's my move. It's the same code. Now the freaking people are freaking massively and staking. So one T share instead of being six something, it's 12, 13, 14, 15, 20. You name it. The more fun we put into it, the more the people at emergency at stake. So this is what I was saying. Why not just freaking now that they're freaking trying to dramatize, let's get in and kumbaya with them.
What do you think is a good ratio to ape in to the EHEX at?
I
What
don't know,
ratio
man.
do you
This is
think?
a freaking happening that never happened before, and I don't have a crystal ball, guys. You gotta follow it. I might send an alert like, hey, this looks quite okay to skip in, but it's not a financial advice. I mean, I'm just saying that because I might be doing it, or other people might be doing it too, and see that other people are doing it, and I just jump in also at the same time. Like might be a bottom, but mark it like as a DCA point. Now the knife is falling. Are you gonna freaking put your hand in the middle and try to grab it?
But I'm
When?
very bearish. I'm bearish, so you shouldn't listen to me.
Yes, very bearish, very bearish. You know why? Because when was the message sent? A few hours ago, right? An hour?
People haven't even read it yet.
Exactly. The 24-hour period of this reaching the whole world is still yet to come. So there's going to be massive emergency at stakes. Oh my God, my T-shares. Oh. If you have 1,000 T-shares, it's like the same calculation I told everybody. If you have 1,000 ink for every dollar,
Wait, I just caught the back
I don't
end of
know.
what you said. What's causing the emergency on stakes? Or were you just joking?
No, the messaging of Richard Hearts, right?
Oh, I
Basically,
got you.
like the ones that were on videos complaining about it, they got the final nail. You're not here. You're not. You don't have the guts. So let's give you the final nail so you can freaking get emergency and stake everything. The official golden retriever was online saying you're abandoning. It's going hex is going to be abandoned, right? It's just now the interest has been lost because it's toxic. It's very sluggish, especially when the price goes up on ETH. Now imagine when the price of ETH is $10,000. How much is it? Jeez. Are you gonna pay $500 to send something to? Or am I gonna pay to Pulse DCA $500 to send him 100,000 EHEX? Are you insane? Guys, follow logic. I mean, that's all I wanted, and send a message to other people like that. I'm not here to be toxic. From the bottom of my heart, what I want is to be people around me to be successful.